Hi, welcome to the Olivos Wine Merchant and Cafe. This is part 2 of my interview with Fabian Bravo, our featured winemaker for the month of October. Fabian is the winemaker for Brander Wines. Fabian would like to share a little story with you, which I think is quite inspirational. Fabian, can you share with everyone your unique path and how you became winemaker for Brander Wines?
Sure. I think like most winemakers, it hasn't always been a direct path.
I don't know that any have been a direct path that I've met so far.
You go to school and you end up switching a few majors and you end up in enology, or you completely do something else and eventually you intern at a winery and you go that direction. Mm-hmm. But I grew up in Gonzales, California. It's in the San Lucia Highlands of California, a great, phenomenal grape growing region for Pinot Noir, Syrah, and Chardonnay. And living in Gonzales, I grew up in a neighborhood where all the streets were named after grape varietals or grape regions of the world, or varietal regions of the world.
So what street did you grow up on?
So I grew up on 549 Chardonnay Drive. Don't egg my house.
That would have been really funny if it was Sauvignon Blanc. Being
exactly
what Brander is known for.
That would have been really nice. So I grew up on Chardonnay Drive, and growing up in the Salinas Valley, where you're surrounded by agriculture, lettuce, broccoli, celery, everything you can think of, and grapes, I thought that I'd choose a career path that would take me into the Silicon Valley and engineering, or somewhere where it was a clean environment. I'd work in a lab. And so I went into electrical engineering into Cal Poly.
You wanted to move away from the soil.
Exactly.
From your roots.
Little did I know. But I ended up getting my first job out of college at Raytheon in Goleta. I worked there for 4 years, and I loved it. I loved my coworkers, and I just didn't see myself growing old doing that type of job. So I did a little soul searching in early midlife crisis, and explored a few different career paths. I baked bread at a bakery. I thought I'd go into law enforcement. I taught high school geometry and algebra.
Mathematician.
Hello to all my old
baker,
coworkers. Yeah.
And exploring being a cop.
Exactly.
And then
eventually I went back to engineering in the San Lucia Highlands area, South Bay. And I met who's now a great friend, and basically offered me a harvest job if I wanted to take up the month, and I would take a leave of absence if I decided to do that. Months went by, and as harvest got closer, I decided to call him up and took him up on it. And he got me a job in Santa Rosa at a winery called Siduri, and great wines, phenomenal staff. I loved working there, and I think that was definitely a point where I thought, well, I can see myself doing this for a while. So. And then you
didn't tell me what birthday it was, but share how on your birthday.
I think it might have been 29th or 30th birthday. The 2007 harvest at Siduri ended for me on November 2nd. The 3rd is my birthday coming up. And
happy early birthday.
Thank you. And I came back to Santa Barbara, and I did a little wine tasting in the region that week. And I tasted at Brander about a Monday, and a few days later I saw posting on Craigslist that someone was looking for an assistant winemaker. I called the number.
From Brander.
Well, I didn't know then.
You didn't know? Oh, wow.
And it turns out to be Fred Brander. And he said, yeah, meet me this week. So about a week later
and your initials match too. Fred Brander, Fabian Bravo.
That's kind of funny. Eventually we'll have to make a wine together that has those initials worked in. But he's Fred Brander and Fabian Bravo, and we actually have first names we don't use. My first name is Juan, and Fred's first name is Carlos, and both of us decided to use our middle names.
Oh, wow.
But a week later, after tasting Brander wines and really interested in Sauvignon Blanc, I started working there and still got to see Cabernet Sauvignon come in 2007 for Brander. So it's going to be soon to be 9-year anniversary for me there.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's right. I hope this story inspires any of you out there who are saying, I'm not quite in the right spot in my life.
You gotta love what you do.
I'm going to do what Fabian Bravo did and go work a harvest maybe. Try it out. We always need more people to work harvests, right?
Exactly.
I did it once, and I've told you guys before, I'm not doing it again. In our next little vignette, I'll be talking to Fabian about Los Olivos district. Fred Brander was the person to push that through. So stay tuned. Next time you see this come through, it will be our part 3, the final episode of our interview with Fabian Bravo. Also, if you'd like to meet Fabian in person, he will be here on October 28th for our final Friday featured winemaker. Just make dinner reservations at the cafe, 805-688-7265, or you can go on our website and make reservations that way. All right, and all of our Brander wines that we're featuring will be 20% off, and there will also be a tasting flight so you can taste the lineup of all 4 of these wonderful wines. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Until part 3.
Yeah, exactly.